Welcome to the Navigator Podcast.
Hello and welcome to another session of the Navigator. Today with me is Bradford Dempsey, CEO of Solutions 360. Welcome, Brad.
Hi, Bradley. Nice to see you again.
Thanks. And so today we're going to continue our discussion. I think you want to interview me on a topic.
Well, it's a topic I know is near and dear to your heart and something you've given me a lot of good advice about, but it's that keyword accountability.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about project accountability in particular, how do you see companies being able to improve in that type of accountability?
Well, and I'll use that term to be count-onability. So I think it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a company to run a project. And it's that count-onability is through its handoffs. It ultimately resides with the project manager to execute that project. But sales is, you can say gave birth to that project, sales and sales engineering. So a key handoff has to be there, and ownership of this is what I gave you, project manager, to execute. I'm ultimately responsible for the birth of that. But PM, you're responsible for predictably executing that, which doesn't mean miraculously executing it. So I think project count-onability is that we all have our roles, our responsibilities, and that we tell the truth early and throughout. And as one of our discussions in another session talked about, we manage change and we manage our WIP.
Yeah, how often do you see that being the major problem in a project, that handoff from sales to the project team?
I think I'm going to say at least 50%, so I'm probably being generous. There's so many immature companies where the whole operational side has been devalued. And I'll say in those companies, sales is very system-based or product-based, and they look at labor as a necessary evil. And so when you do that, what I find then is that the organization is not selling its project management process. And that's a key differentiator for the mature companies is, yes, you're buying a solution, but we're going to manage it predictably, professionally. This is our change order process. These are our status reports we're going to give you. So we have to add value to the predictability of that project. And I think so many companies don't do that. The other half of that is that many project managers are not trained to be project managers. This industry still has the penchant to take my best lead tech problem solver and throw them into a PM role. And they don't know how to plan. They don't know how to confront. They don't like conflict. So there's, it's about a half and half when it comes to that.
That's certainly what we see quite often. So what authority does the project manager need, and what are the obligations of a mature project manager?
Well, they need the authority to confront the customer honestly and openly. So whether they're a GC, whether they're an end user customer, the customer has milestones. The customer has responsibilities. And so many times we manage things in a vacuum where the client will miss a milestone and the PM will try and go figure out how to make that happen. So they have to have the ability to kind of forewarn and foreducate clients as to what the client's responsibility is. And oftentimes I'm just going to say in immature companies, they're told, don't raise that issue. And it's like, well, it's not an issue yet, which is why I'm raising it now. So they have to have the authority to communicate truthfully. They have to have the authority to escalate issues, which then become change orders. They have to, I'm going to say, have the authority, responsibility, accountability to tell the truth. And I find a lot of organizations, one, either don't want to know the truth, or they're not tracking their time accurately or truthfully, or they're just, again, seeing the PM as this hero martyr role, as opposed to a true professional role. It is a field of study. Again, I've been teaching for the Project Management Institute for 25 years. It's a profession. And in this industry, we tend to not see it as a profession.
So how do the most mature companies bring all this together? How do they get those trained expert project managers? How do they make sure they have the right authority and responsibility to do what they need to do?
It becomes a core competence of the company. So I'll look at, and when I work with companies, I really say, let's not talk about project management. Let's talk about how your company sells and manages its projects, because that puts a shared responsibility on sales and PMs. And then the PMs have to understand how to plan. And most people, when I say, let's look at your schedule, they show me the resource calendar versus what's your critical path schedule with milestones? What are your risks? So there's a key competence of managing that pyramid of scope, time, cost, quality, and risk that many are not trained in. And the other one is really thinking through, as we're in our pipeline and our forecast and we're about to like win this thing, we need to start planning before, you know, that PO comes in versus reacting after it does. So it's creating a team between sales, engineering, PM, operations, and service. Again, service needs to be involved in the project, and the PM, a key customer of the PM is service.
That's great. That's very enlightening. Thank you very much, Bradley.
You're welcome. Thank you.